Welcome back, everyone, to the 2015 World Championship Finals. Now, in addition to this amazing audience here in Berlin, people all around the world are tuning in to catch all the explosive action, including this viewing party taking place here in Lucca, Italy. And then, of course, we're going to follow that up with one from Barcelona, Spain. Lots of energy there in that very tight space. And then, not to be outdone, the fans have assembled en masse at Le Zénith in Toulouse, France. And then, of course, from there, we're going to check in with another Coke viewing party. This one is taking place in Bellevue, Washington. And I'm sure all of these fans across the world, as well as the ones here in the venue themselves and myself, want to see more than 3 games. I'm hoping for 5 games. So, gentlemen, this is where I turn to you. It's do or die time here for the KOO Tigers. So, in one sentence, or no, I'm kidding, not in one sentence or less. No, you just one time down the line. Sorry, starting with money.
Go.
What do they need to do? Yeah, and in a haiku.
I think they just really need to keep their heads cool, stay calm and collected, because they were so close to taking that last game, and then they started overextending, were misplaying that Baron after doing seemingly everything right for a few minutes. So I think they just need to take a deep breath, remember what they know about this game, and just slow down the pace a little bit in the next game.
All right, Kobe.
Definitely want to reiterate, Smeb specifically needs to keep his composure in this game. I'm also going to be looking at the other big star for the team, Gorilla. They need him to make some plays now. The early home guards, get up into Smeb's lane, go for one of those lane ganks that we've seen him do it before, and try and get something growing.
I think the biggest mistake KOO made was not predicting the counters to their own plays. They went for a lot of plays where there were obvious counters, whether it was like somebody's missing, I mean, I can't dive here because they could show up during the lane, or we suddenly see a good call mid, but we get out-rotated by SKT, so they need to think more about what happens in a bigger picture overall. They have some really good clutch, like, shot calling in the moment, but then they lose sight of the big picture, and I think that's really hard. It's easy to say. I can never do it.
Much easier said than done.
Especially when playing against SKT, because
SKT does it so quickly.
So much information denial.
Right, SKT known for outthinking their opponents. Now KOO has to outthink the outthinkers. Well, it's time to head down to the stage where Shox is standing by with one of Europe's finest.
Who will be?
Hi, thank you very much, Dash. One of Europe's finest, indeed. Top laner for Origin. So we're going to talk a little bit about the games coming up. First, I just want to talk to you about a week after getting knocked out and actually having a fantastic tournament with Origin in your first year, semifinals of Worlds. How do you look back on everything after a week thinking about it?
Well, I still feel pretty good about our performance overall. We didn't expect much coming at Worlds, so it was a good performance for us, even though we got 3-0 by SKT, which is, we could have maybe take one game or something, but they are the better team in the end, so I didn't really feel bad. I just like take the experience as it is, and that's it.
Well, definitely nothing to be ashamed of, and the people here are always cheering for you. Talk to me a little bit about this series in particular. You guys were exactly in the same situation after game 1 versus SKT. You had a close game that you could have been able to win. What happens to you after that versus a team like SKT? What position do KOO find themselves in now?
I believe their second game could have gone either way, like the game they just played right now. They just need to take it slowly. As Crepo said, they need to rethink about like everything everything they are going to do in the game overall, and yeah, they just need to take it slow because they tend to be a super active team overall. So yeah, they need to think a lot more about like what they're gonna do for the next step. Always like think about what enemies can do and what they can do, and I think they can probably take one game at least. Yeah.
All right, well, then looking at maybe the top lane specifically, when you say they need to take a step back, we were looking at Smeb and Marin a lot. What have you made of the matchup so far? With Smeb going for those playmaking champions, but it doesn't seem to bring them the rewards.
It looks like Marin is like, they completely shifted the play overall. Like Marin is more going for like teamfight champion, played Rumble 2 games, looking for lane swap, so it can be more useful in teamfight overall compared to Fiora and Riven. I think it will be different games if they face 1v1 2 versus 2, because in this game they had Rek'Sai against Jarvan, which is Rek'Sai is the stronger matchup, so I think they could have snowballed a lot more if it was 1v1. So in my opinion, they should probably try to find where they want to go since level 1, and depending of jungle and top lane matchup, they can probably snowball from there.
All right, so you say they can take one game Can they turn the whole thing around, or is it SKT win?
I think it's always really hard, especially at this level, to actually come back from a 2-0. From the last game, it looks like they can take one game, and it depends like about SKT mostly, like, or if they stay calm, if they want to change their play or anything. Obviously they are 2-0, so they're probably not going to change anything. So it's cool that have to bring something new or something else to actually take one game.
Well, the pressure is on, KOO. Thank you very much, Soaz, for talking to me here. And we're going to go into the next game, Game 3, with our casters.
Thank you very much, Shocks, and awesome to hear from Soaz, a player who recently felt the pressure of SKT on him, and they are one game away from raising the Summoners Cup once again, which puts even more pressure on the KOO Tigers, and they've been feeling it since Game 1.
It's a scary thing when some of their parts of the game we felt KOO Tigers could challenge SKT in. They haven't been able to. Obviously, shot calling wise, late game, it's gone horribly wrong for KOO Tigers. They've not been able to win the split push war either because Smeb has not been performing. In this match here, he had such a good opportunity in the last game and he missed it. And then Marin just picking team fighting champion, saying, I will out team fight you now. You can't win 1 versus 1. I'll just go on 5 versus 5.
And I think that's the scariest thing, is that Marin isn't even needing to play the matchup against Smeb that you thought maybe you'd have to neutralize him. Smeb's been crushing everyone, but now Marin's playing team fighters into him and still finding success.
Yeah.
And there's no way, in my opinion, that SKT makes the same type of blunder at the start of Game 3 that they did in Game 2. So KOO Tigers really has to step up their game if they want to take one.
And now you have a problem for if you're the KOO Tigers. We expect Rek'Sai to come in for SKT like they did in Game 1. The thing for KOO Tigers is, I don't think they really want the Lulu pick. Because we've seen Faker can play like Kassadin into it, and KOO didn't really do a whole lot. They might be forced to take it anyway just because it's open. But they would most likely prefer to go something like Shen and Fiora and try and do what they did in Game 2, have that set up at least, but this time around execute it better. You just had like 10-15 minutes to talk about what went wrong, why did we win the game. So far 1 for 1 at least with that one, because Fiora has been instant locked. KOO Tigers needs to find a way to go back to what worked for them when it comes to Smeb being a split pusher. And you just have to try and make less mistakes. I know it sounds easy, but...
Yep. And they're not going to go with Lulu. I think they want KOO and Victor. I honestly think KOO Tigers just want all of their individual best champions. Smeb, Fiora, KOO, Victor, Hojin already
Shen
on Lee Sin.
now.
His name used to be Lee. Get Shen now for the support before SKT can lock in Rek'Sai and Shen. And Ashe has been their most successful AD carry.
I like the idea of Ashe for them. Said before, they bring out the Zac, they bring out the Ashe. You have to play differently around that. It's something that absolutely caught Fnatic off guard when they played just Ashe arrow down the mid lane in the engage, but that's Kassadin as well.
So, KOO Tigers are saying, you could play Kassadin into our Lulu. We will now try and do exactly the same. Only difference is there is no
a lot
hard
of differences.
Yeah, a lot of, obviously, player-wise, Faker KOO, but there's also no hard or no great wave play AD carry. Ashe takes a little bit more time taking down these waves compared to Sivir, which was one of the reasons it could work for SKT, because they could move Sivir to mid lane and have Kassadin in the side lane.
Exactly, as well as having the wave clear, SKT also had Rumble in the top lane, so they had a big AoE team fighting presence if the Kassadin was away farming. KOO has 2 melee mid laners and not much wave clear as an AD carry. SKT, even though you normally don't think of Sivir going with Lulu, you actually put the Sivir with the Lulu here because it's something SKT has done very well in the past. They have incredible wave clear, great team fighting, and a high early power spiking team. This is exactly what SKT should do.
You know what feels good? When you can play the same champion 3 times in a row. He's already feeling good on it. He's been making great equalizers. He's going to do it again this game.
And again, it's just been this pick that's not going to win the 1 versus 1 against the Fiora, but it's going to sit back at its own tower. And if you ever want to tower dive it, the Hourglass, the amount of damage you can put down with your AoE abilities is enough to at least buy time for SKT to make a play elsewhere. But KOO Tigers is going full pick composition right here. We are going to look to catch off targets with Ashe Arrow. We're going to have the hook from the Thresh, Lee Sin, single them out and one-shot them.
And they have to play it so perfectly because they are at such an immense disadvantage as far as wave clearing is concerned in this game. Like, this is 100% a pick composition, but the question will be whether or not their turrets are collapsing around them as they're trying to get fights, because every time they commit to a kill, 3 or 4 people, where is SKT gonna go? And that will be the story of this game.
Sivir once again for Bang, telling you SKT is going to be throwing that on constantly. We see Faker pushing the mid lane as well with Lulu, trying to keep KOO down. It was vice versa last time See what he can make happen as they get out of champion select in the next 10 seconds. It looks like Ignite for the mid laners again.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely loving the fact that they've switched away from the TP action there in the mid lane.
Basically looking to be stronger when we have these fights going on instead of having the global pressure. Even though I still like it on a Kassadin to have that teleport, especially now when it's so hard to execute your composition. Like, credit to KOO Tigers for saying, we just lost 2 games in a row. We don't care. We will pick a comp that is so hard to play, and we trust in our ability to pull it off, and then try and get a comeback going.
Sometimes you got to test yourself to really find that inner skill. And hopefully they can bring it out here in Game 3. The teams are about to hit the rift for Game 3, so update your series predictions. Hashtag SKT win or hashtag KOO win. We'll update the fan vote once we are into game. We're very close to that Summoners Cup for SKT. KOO now trying to hang on to their World Championship hopes. They've made it all the way here in their first year as a team, really scrapping things together and hopefully bringing out their first victory in the World Finals here.
And even though there are holes or weaknesses within this team composition for KOO that can be exploited, I still love the fact that they have picked these specific champions for this composition. KOO Tigers, when they made their recovery out of having a poor summer split, it was a lot of Ashe and it was a lot of pick compositions. They are playing champions that they are comfortable on. And that is so important because we're worried about them tilting off the face of the earth when SKT turns around that game too. So how do you get your comfort back? It is in the champion picks, and KOO is just gonna try to outplay the crap out of SKT in this game.
Looks like things are going to be very calm to start this one off. Definitely SKT's game to lose off the bat. Full control of the early game would pretty much solidify the win here as KOO, in their attempts to do Baron last game, and their attempts to kind of pressure the turret, they aren't really trial and erroring. They're not seeing how SKT is acting, so it's flawing every time they go in. They have errors left and right, or they split.
I want to see SKT lane swap though in this game here, because I think KOO Tigers have some very, very strong lane setups. Ashe is a fantastic laner, and she has a range support and Thresh next to her against an Alistar, so that's very good for KOO Tigers. Fiora into Rumble, give her that one-on-one lane from the start as well. That's what we see from SKT now. They're like, okay, we're staying on bottom side in case they were invading. We were showing we were down here. Maybe we would trick them into thinking we were going to be on the bottom side. Now they swap it up top lane here. So they do get the lane swap for SKT. I think that's very important for this early game. But they have made mistakes in the lane swaps in the last 2 games. They didn't bounce the wave in game 1. And obviously last game was this crazy level 1, level 2 thing. Where Martin then ends up TPing down with no flash and dying as well.
If we're talking just the first 5 minutes of the game, KOO Tigers has been the better team.
Sadly, games are not only 5 minutes long.
I think that's something that SKT realizes well in advance as well. You see all these kills going to KOO around the map. SKT kind of has this database in their head. They say, you know, we could lose about 5 kills here, but if we get kills in a turret and dragon, we're right back in the game. And that's what they always set up for when they're down. They see what their opening is to get back in the game.
Well, SKT is actually doing about the same play they did earlier because they're sending an invade in to the double jungler. It's just on the different side of the map.
I don't know if they're going to be getting over walls on this one. They know what mistake they made last time. Now they're getting away with a bit more resources. No flashes being used there, but they do push KOO off that top side of the jungle.
So again, KOO Tigers, they keep starting in the jungle where the enemy AD carry and support is supposed to be, or at least on that side of the map. So they take away their own 2 camps on top side, which was supposed to belong to SKT, because SK Telecom always start in their own jungle. They start really defensively, so they don't deny anything. And now once again, there will be more camps to take for KOO Tigers down on the bottom side of the map. So SKT just instantly want to go up and start pushing down this tower, swap around, get this lane swap rolling, so you can't just fall further behind. They don't value getting early experience on Marin by taking multiple jungle camps. They just want you safe and then push down the tower as fast as possible.
This top lane going a bit faster. It took Smeb some time to get down to that bottom tier turret, so SKT are going to be able to move a bit quicker here. Those few seconds they get to themselves to back first, get in position, get their wards ready, and start being aggressive on the bottom side of the map is really what puts them ahead. Smeb being late here leaves still a third of this turret up.
Yeah, and they're going to teleport in and actually try and save this one. This will be a big question of how quickly Alistar gets down there. And KOO took enough damage from the minion wave that they can't actually threaten a dive. Also a weird move up top. Bang didn't bounce the wave into the top side.
See what Hojin does here, but the reason they didn't bounce the wave was because they realized they could TP down bottom lane. So they just wanted to push it out, get some farm going, and then force someone for KOO Tigers to recall and go up to top side and catch that wave, so there's not going, these minions are going to waste. So because they saw how slow KOO Tigers were at the bottom side of the map, they felt like we can defend it. Binky moved all the way down, TP in as well to stop it. Hojin should have been in a position, in my opinion, where he could either threaten then the 4v2 dive super quick, or just go down and realize we were behind him pushing the tower. I need to join in as well before this play even happened and just 4-man kill this tower, because you never want to fall behind when it comes to fast pushing.
Well, they have all the pressure on the bot side. They have to watch for Prey to come up in the bottom side of the jungle here. KOO in a bad spot. He walks right in with Faker on his tail. They're on Bengi though. The flay back, very nice from Gorilla. Ignite and Flash used to make that happen. Faker now in a real sore spot. It looks like he'll be the next to go down. A bit of a fumble Ruski here coming in from SKT. And KOO are going to pick up some very nice kills all around the board. 3 assists to Gorilla. It's working out perfectly. Distributing the kills, nice. Bang trying to come in now. A huge, I think I can situation from SKT to pick up the little outside experience that would ever happen.
They just got
4 kills for Hojin in the early game. 1 goes to Prey.
One person and another person, and who wants to die next? And who wants to die next? SKT, another early game fumble here against KOO, and they pick it up big. 4 kills onto Hojin. So what will he do now? Warrior Enchantment completed 5.5 minutes into the game.
I feel like we've seen this before in this series here. SKT makes a lot of mistakes and Hojin picks up all the kills.
Yeah, Gorilla's not actually level 1 in this fight, so the rest of this here, Hojin goes in big, level 3 Lee Sin spike. They kill Bengi right at the start. Faker was low on mana and actually had no business stopping that either. Prey, again, not level 1, is able to come in and finish those guys off. And why do Sivir and Rumble come up here when their entire team is already dead? Additionally, Fjord doesn't even have to be involved in this. This was 5 kills by 3 people on the KOO Tigers. This is, you know how we said in the first game, there's no way SKT falls as far behind early game as they did in game 2? There is a way. That's the way. 4 kills on a Hojin and a Warrior Enchantment already.
Not calculating the HP bars quite well in that situation. Possibly a bit of a play.
He's got no flash.
This could be the finalizer. Hojin holds the resonating strike to cancel out the rest of Faker.
And every time we have some of these extremely weird plays where there's no real reason for them to make it, we've got to look at what could be the objective. Why would SKT move in there in the first place? Well, in this case, it was to place a deep ward. And then they realized Gorilla face checks onto Bengi, and they're like, oh, maybe we can take a fight here. You know, support just face check. We could get 1 kill. But they don't realize how Faker has no mana. They don't realize how everyone from KOO Tigers could move so quickly there. And really just such a sloppy decision.
And also, SKT didn't have the wave clear advantage. So this is exactly what KOO wants to do. They want to find fights in neutral territory when they don't lose objectives. SKT's way of stopping those things from happening is to keep the waves managed.
And this becomes extremely volatile for SKT now. KOO already set up to take down Faker behind a second-tier turret, but they want to go to the bot lane, looking now at Bang and Wolf. Marin's going to clear top. Smeb's going to have to respect that and stay for the TP. It's down anyways, but we're going to see something happen in that bottom lane, possibly, as teams disperse a bit. It doesn't look like anything came out of it, rightfully so. KOO would have had to make a pretty big dive.
KOO can just sit in the lanes and wait for Hojin to show up on this Lee Sin. Because he's so far ahead, he can take any fight he wants. And he can burst you down as soon as he hits level 6 and this Lee Sin. So wait for him to make that play. Because then you know there's no counter gank from Bengi available. He will be too far behind.
And these types of plays are the exact plays that KOO needs. They said they want the crowd to be chanting their name, and that's what they're getting right now. It'll lift the pressure off their shoulders. They know the crowd is behind them, but more so that their strats are working right now. We did see that Hojin was 2-0-2 on Rek'Sai in the early game in game 2. 5-0-1. Hopefully he can continue to spread his experience to the rest of the lanes and keep this snowball going, because they did slow down after they got all those big plays in game 2.
And now it's also about slowing down the game if you were SKT. You know Lee Sin is going crazy. Faker also doesn't have that much lane pressure on KOO because he's been down his flash and also died twice, plus he doesn't have teleport, so it's kind of the worst situation you can be in as a mid laner. But SKT still has a lot of wave clear advantages, and they have a Rek'Sai who can give himself Tremor Sense in the jungle, line up to counter ganks, and more so than actually counter ganking, just tip someone off that they're coming so SKT can run away. They really just want to wave clear for a little while until KOO would make a mistake.
We do need to see Hojin, they'll be a bit more aggressive now in this Lee Sin. You have so many kills, you need to almost live in the enemy jungle. And say, I could take any fight possible against this Rek'Sai. Obviously nothing completed for Bengi so far other than the Sidestone. SKT right now though have been able to push the top over and over and open up just take the Raptors.
And Hojin's going super aggressive. Not only did he complete his Warrior Enchantment 5 minutes in, he had enough gold for a Sightstone, but instead started building Hex Drinker components. Now he's got no wards left. One ward there, Trinket ward to jump out. He actually can't ward jump to pull any type of trickery off.
Really would have liked to see Sightstone. I think one of the best ways to kind of snowball a jungle matchup is not necessarily by trying to kill the other jungler, but by getting wards in his jungle so you can spot him. Arrow onto Faker though. This is a play we're gonna see quite often from Prey. He's very good at leaving his own lane in this Ashe here, moving towards mid or top lane, set up a possible pick. This time, Hojin gets into the jungle though. This is what we like to see. I just wish he had some wards to be placed in here as well now, so he can spot the Rek'Sai next time.
Relying a little too much on Lantern Escape.
I think Lee Sin's one of the best champions who can turn utility into offense. Sightstone increases the offensive capabilities of Lee Sin. Really disagree with this buy from Hojin.
They've been loving their Hex Drinkers. Game after game, they continue to grab it.
Against the Rumble.
Faced up.
Well, you
We're
really
usually
want that.
faced up against the double AP comp so far. We had the Kassadin Rumble, now Lulu Rumble. Once again, SKT definitely knows where to put that power once the mid game comes. This time, 2,000 gold lead to KOO, 6-1, full control of the game. Haven't really been able to keep their deep wards in the side of SKT, so that's slowing them down a little bit. But we know SKT be the vision denial team. The flash play as soon as he gets it again. Hooks in Faker, the dragon kick back, and that's going to be a dead Faker once again. Nobody's in the back pocket to help him this time.
Faker tried to save his flash until all the CC were down first, but then obviously Lee Sin shows up with the Thresh here, kicks him back, and then it's too late for him to do anything. They keep trying to gank this mid lane. You know you have a Kassadin sitting there, and you just keep leaving this bottom side. Roam up through the river, go for the gank.
I think it's also critical that they were able to get the kill on a Kassadin here. So much of the kill distribution is on Hojin, which is why he needs to snowball the game right now, because otherwise his gold at the end of the game will not mean that much, and that's why SKT needs to stall this one out. So using the Lee Sin, Thresh, the power of the chain CC right there to punish Faker's greed of not using flash was very well done.
Now, to question a bit of this, do they start spreading some love to Smeb in the top lane on the Fiora, or is he perfectly fine holding off Marin for as long as possible?
I mean, at the moment, if you want to gank Marin, you should realize Bengi will be nearby, because every time Marin pushes up, Bengi shows himself, gets a ward in the jungle, and she's kind of there for safety. So they're just going to say, no, we can just keep camping this mid lane. We have double CC, we have the Ashe to land the arrow in case we need that one as well. But yes, they could definitely also go and gank Marin. It's just easier to rotate from bottom lane with your support straight to mid lane. That's a quick one, easy gank to set up.
It's so hard for KOO to create picks though, because they're still running without a Sightstone on their whole team.
He didn't even buy a ward when he went
Gorilla
back.
didn't buy Sightstone, he built Boost Mobility, so they're trying to go in blind and make plays with superior combat stats right now. It is absurdly aggressive and incredibly unreliable, but KOO is going all out right here, trying to pull this off. Big change of strategy from KOO Tigers in this game than in prior.
It's very clear in the pick and ban phase. Coming into this game, KOO Tigers said, okay, it's all or nothing. Just pick some champions where we can pick them off, skirmish really well, and go crazy. I feel like in the game though, once you get the 5 kills early on, you can then adapt that and say, okay, we don't have to go all in crazy now. Because we just got 5 kills. We can play it out normal and just have a big advantage.
Get the 5 kills, place the wards, and make it easier to pick with all of your pick abilities. Instead of KOO, what they're trying to do is run through SKT, force, run into someone randomly, and get the kill.
Well,
but they have so much brute force.
Blips of vision, right? A Hawkshot will go out here, a Hawkshot will go out there. They'll have somewhat vision, and they'll work off of that bit. But you're right. They don't know who's around the corner after Hawkshot's gone.
That's why coaches really want to be able to talk in-game. And see the arrow misses, but Nofa's been like, guys, go crazy, man. Go all in. We're going to do this. And then when all this happens, he just wants to stand back and be like, okay, slow down. All right, get vision, then we play it out.
No way to tell them to slow down right now.
Nope.
And the wave clear will be punished eventually. They're continuing to keep the pressure on mid lane, and because they are so strong right now with straight up item advantages, Hex Drinker completed, Tiamat completed, they haven't been punished yet for this craziness that they're doing. Oh,
They're definitely employing a new strat for this one. Wolf finds he's in a bad situation in the box. Do they have enough to get to Gorilla? Smeb actually teleports down here, but it's called in as well. From the other teleports onto Bengi. Now it looks like they should be able to get out. Bang does not want the grand challenge. Wolf goes down immediately. Marin able to teleport, but he wasn't close to the fight. Kuro should go down here. Sage brought over to him. A lantern as well. Ignite. still ticks through. The flash was burned from Kuro quite a bit as well. This could give SKT a little bit of love around that dragon area to get more wards and keep fighting. Wow, Smed wants to go in. They know Gorilla's there, but very low on mana here. Hojin looking to build a little bit of energy as well. I don't think it's a fight either side wants to take, but they were still trying to blow summoners on both sides. Successful at that.
That's a 1-for-1 against a team who had 7 kills already at 14 minutes against 1 only from SKT. Them trading even will always be in their favor because you're so far behind. It's never in the favor of KOO Tigers to just trade even. Hojin even took the kill. Alistar was like 100% dead. Kicks him in the face and kills him.
Hojin's going one direction right now. Lee Sin care. That's all he's thinking right now. He's trying to put the team on his back. And this is also the mentality you put yourself in when you are down 2-0 in a series, because you are always trying to make that big play. But so far, it's been mostly working for KOO.
Oh, arrow to the knee on Wolf. I don't know if he's going to be out of this one. He gets the headbutt in. It's good that he kind of just let it happen. You didn't want to try to use too much to get away. He actually did flash in the end, thinking he could break the brush vision, but it did not work. The KOO chants come out once again, and they will again deny the resources in the jungle of SKT.
Yeah, now you have that side stone, 2 wards instantly placed in the jungle. You get a pick. Wolf was way out of position trying to place a deep ward himself, but with 0 backup from his laners. A mistake we have seen from SKT, honestly, today a few times where one guy just goes in on his own to place a ward and then gets caught out. This is what KOO Tigers composition wants to do. Oh, you're alone, you're running way too far ahead of your own team. We have all the tools to CC you and chase you. There's going to be a Kassadin late game constantly jumping after you as well.
And what KOO is pulling off right now is what so many teams unsuccessfully do against well-executed wave clear compositions. Because in order to stop the side lanes from pushing out of control for SKT, you have to kill them before they get up to your turret. And KOO has been able to find fights and consistently kill, which is why it's just the 1 turret taken down for SKT versus the 2 from KOO. And now that they actually do have the double sight stones built up, they can continue to put on the pressure and the vision.
Double sight stones means they all swapped over to sweepers. A very early scrying orb still from Prey to go along with his hawk shots have given KOO great vision in this early part of the game to waltz into the jungle of SKT pretty much without any care. Now they have the wards so deep, a pink ward all the way down between the second tier turrets. They have all the vision they need here to make those pick moves they've been wanting to make all game.
The only thing SKT is going for them is the fact that Marin, they go hit level 11 soon, which is good spikes for them when it comes to a possible dragon fight. This is what KOO Tigers want them.
Trying to stop SKT
in their perfect run
from having a perfect run at Worlds, what would be the first in the history of the World Championship.
And SKT has been positive. They said, if this team doesn't beat us, we're more than likely going to go undefeated in the entire tournament. We feel better about it every win.
Here they come.
This is the crowd control they were looking for. There's no way Bengi gets out of this one. He goes down with the last shot from Prey. 2-0-5 now for the AD carry.
This is what we're going to keep seeing here. Wards placed. Bengi can no longer sit and farm his own jungle. If he ever does so, expect KOO Tigers to show up, catch him out like they just did right here, get that 1 kill. Problem is, they give up a bot lane tower and only get a kill for it. So technically for them, not the greatest trade, but it did mean Marin also had to be careful top, so now they can trade for top tower.
It's a delayed trade. It's still favorable for the KOO Tigers because they got the map pressure. Kill Squad, Hojin and Gorilla, they have been successfully creating these picks. 100% kill participation for Hojin, 90% kill participation for Gorilla, and it's allowed Smeb to not have to carry. So much of this entire World and of the first 2 games have been Smeb carrying, and he was pushing too hard in the first few games. Now the weight is being taken off of Smeb's shoulders in this game, and it's actually been Hojin.
I was just going to say that one of the biggest changes from both of the games we've seen is that KOO is not focusing top. They're not trying to get things for Smeb. They're not trying to stop Marin. They've stayed away from that, and it's working perfectly for them because SKT turns those fights around. Looking at 20 minutes coming up on the clock now. 10-2, the biggest lead KOO has had here in these games, as well as a 5,000 gold lead coming up on that 20-minute mark.
and Dragon coming up in 12 seconds, it's what a pick composition lives for. Not necessarily doing the Dragon, but killing someone when they're trying to get vision or contest the Dragon.
Dinner time.
Fortunately for SKT though, they've been able to get a lot of wards preemptively around the Dragon Pit since KOO just committed so many people to killing the other side of the map. So the picks will be harder to come by.
Every time KOO has killed them, one other guy snuck in behind them and placed 2 or 3 wards in the river, and then they had to escape. But they always gave up a kill for it. So KOO Tigers kept getting further and further ahead in terms of gold. We're still only 19 minutes into the game. There's plenty of time for the KOO Tigers to use all this gold here to their advantage. For now, they're gonna have to fight for vision, and SKT gets at least an entrance.
And I have to reiterate how difficult it is to beat SKT because they've been able to get those wards here. And they actually have a power spike here with Marin being level 11 on Rumble. A well-placed equalizer at this Dragon fight, even with the 5,000 gold difference, could win a fight for SKT.
One of the problems though for Marin, and that's also why he's down on the bottom side here, is if he goes top now to catch this wave, which he probably will to defend the tower, when you're against Kassadin, Ashe, and so on, they can hard engage in and pick off one target. Your teleport becomes very difficult to use because obviously there's the delay on the teleport casting before you arrive. KOO Tigers might have picked off a guy before Marin even gets to TP in. So him sitting there means KOO Tigers can be the proactive team now. Look for that one arrow here. Look for Kuro to catch out a guy. A lot of damage on Gorilla though.
If they start the Dragon, that's going to mean even more damage. They don't necessarily have someone who can tank the Dragon without taking any pain. Maybe this turns into a steal opportunity because Bengi would be able to tunnel in and try and get something. KOO is forcing really hard to try and get a fight.
KOO Tigers chants resonating through the halls of the Mercedes-Benz Arena here in Berlin. Hojin takes the Dragon. Smeb TP's into the backside. They're still getting out. This is where the picks come in. Wild growth on the Bengi. The focus is Marin. He's away from the team. Smeb wants to keep everybody in range, but he's gone on a one-man mission over here. Bengi gets out. Smeb lunges back. Gorilla is a one health from being taken down right now, and KOO doesn't get enough of the picks that they want, but Marin does go down from being in the thick of the fight.
Wow, and how close this fight really was. It is an advantage for KOO to get the Dragon and the kill.
Absolutely.
But if we're thinking about total damage dealt in that team fight, SKT actually did more. Pretty much everyone on KOO took 80% or more of their health bar. They can absolutely bring the pain, especially if SKT funnels in like that, chasing kills.
See it again.
You can see how SKT knows they don't want to risk someone going down before Marin arrives, so he goes in fairly early with teleport and beautiful ulti on 3 guys from the KOO Tigers. This delays everything. They're trying to chase, but they're so split up now. Smeb doesn't even get Bengi down, but in the end, they win the fight. They get this Dragon here like they're supposed to. Bang was very, very close to suddenly being able to get a few kills.
Absolutely. Bang maybe could have played that a little more aggressive, but still, when you're down 11 kills to 2, your aggressive moves have been biting you time and time again, and KOO is really looking to take this series back.
Gorilla surviving that fight with 6 HP, some thick skin there to keep him alive. Ignite still up, kill pressure from him to come into the next fight if necessary, and this may be that time again. KOO starts to taunt Baron, but more of a trial and error here. See how SKT reacts, and then act on that.
This is the time for KOO Tigers to start getting the pink wards, upgrade your sweepers here, both on Gorilla and Hojin, because you need to be able to deny vision at the Baron, force SKT to face check in, and then again, create this pick where you just shoot an arrow in their face. SKT have all 5 members nearby. Kuro taking a bit of damage, but you can see how they're fighting, because SKT knows if they give up that jungle, it's over. Because then the Baron will be started, they're completely blind, and then they will die in the next team fight. So that's why they're here so early, to fight just for vision. There's always these pre-fights before the big team fight where you fight all these small advantages. Who can see who? Can they start the Baron safely? There's no tank on the lineup of KOO Tigers. That makes it tricky, and that's why they need a kill first.
A little game of cat and mouse here. Are you going to approach? How do you approach? Can we cut you off? Can we get that pick when you're rotating towards the Baron? KOO have a lot of room to work with right here, outside the vision of SKT.
Marin should not be on the bottom side of the map at the moment. He has no TP. This just gave KOO Tigers the jungle, and they're pushing him for top tower.
Yeah, because now SKT can't actually hold this turret with wave clear in fear of a dive.
The wave going through, the crowd has been cheering for KOO, and it looks like the arrow hits Bang. The spell shield is on, he does not get crowd controlled. That's the grand challenge on Bengi. Thrust, parry, and he gets the kill. 13-2. to 2 as they start cleaning up SKT without losing any members on the side of KOO.
KOO Tigers has successfully put an element of chaos into this game, which is making SKT make bad decisions. That was a bad decision. Marin wasn't able to defend. The dive is very real with an Ashe arrow initiate plus a Lee Sin with flash, and they are rightfully punished for that move. And now with 2 death timers looming, the Baron becomes another problem.
Crowd started chants, people standing up and creating these chants for KOO. It's exactly what
KOO wants to do is
Faker flash into the wall. Wolf's gonna go down now. Gorilla has gone down to Marin, but it's Kuro and Marin now. Marin knows he's not gonna get out of this one safely. Slowed once again. I don't believe the volley just yet, but they're gonna be in range. Who are they gonna give it to? Merry Christmas, an early Christmas to Prey.
SKT managed to stop the Baron, but that was about it. 3 kills again for KOO Tigers. Summoner spells used. This is looking so bad, and really this game exploded.
I'll say it's looking good for KOO.
It looked great for KOO, obviously bad for SKT, but really, we had the 5 kills early on, and then KOO Tigers got a few kills here and there, but it really exploded when they started getting into that jungle, get down the vision, and been able to create these picks here. Faker, even Faker, can flash into the wall.
When you have Faker failing a flash over a wall, you know something is amiss within the SKT team. They've been making bad calls. Faker, I can't remember the last time I've seen him miss a flash.
Just reminds us that he's human.
And if there's ever a time for SKT to drop a game, guys, it's now. 8,000 gold down, KOO continually finding team fights again and again. And I'm gonna have to question, if KOO's able to win this game, do they actually completely turn the momentum of the series? Because remember, they were winning, they were in a position to win game 2.
Yes, but then we saw some of the problems for them late game with the shot calling.
Right.
This game, that should not be an issue when you're so far ahead now. Your composition, at this point, is gonna be straightforward to play because you just keep baiting around the Baron and then you just fire that arrow from Prey and you take that team fight. It is hard to get to this point for KOO Tigers. Due to the fact though they got so many early kills, it made it a lot easier for them. They've been able to execute it properly now, and we're just waiting for that finish. Because right now, SKT is hurt. They're not dead yet.
They're not dead yet, but this is finally KOO breaking through that mental barrier that SKT puts up. We saw Faker go down twice to West Door alone in lane, and Faker was almost smiling, laughing, knowing that they would come back because they have the confidence. Here, that seems to be broken. SKT always turning tail to these fights to see if they can assess and go back in, but it has been for naught.
Yeah, and actually SKT going for a big fight in the mid lane.
Arrow straight to the face of Bang, stops Gorilla from going down. Initiations on both sides of On the Hunt. Crystalline Arrow and Box are down.
And something we actually have to talk about, SKT ran Lulu Sivir frequently throughout the regular season, and they use as a mid-game power spiking team that got picks. But when it falls behind, it is really difficult for it to come back since it has to move as a unit.
Now that Sivir ulti is gone, it could have opened up for KOO Tigers to maybe make a play on the bottom side against Marin, send down Hojin, just 2v1 dive him. Instead, they're returning to the Baron. Backed away from the bot lane here with Smeb.
KOO has not hesitated on any of their calls this game. That's a risky call though because they are on a scrying orb. And now the teleport's coming in.
Marin down. Their target is actually to stop KOO and their flank back. We see Faker and Wolf messing with Meb down here, but it is not working out for them. Lunging over the wall. KOO is instantly back in position. This should not hurt them too much. A lot of ultimates are already being used by SKT. Remember, Wolf's ult is down from that second tier turret in mid, so they can't afford to go back in.
Remember that this team does not have a tank who's gonna stack armor that can safely stand in front of this Baron here. It was Kassadin and so on. Try and bounce it with Hojin. Both of them took a lot of damage, and you're against the Rumble. You never want to start a fight low against the Rumble because that's just gonna be terrible for you. Instead, here's a fight.
It's a bit of a flank here. Prey very low on mana, but you don't need that to auto attack. That's gonna be Wolf down. We also lost Meb in the fight. Marin holding tight in the middle. They get the turret, so they'll be able to fight under it now. Hojin doing what he can with such an awesome score in this game, and it looks like it's gonna be a lot for the team. That's a double. Faker gets hit by the arrow. That's gonna be a kill for Prey as well. Is there a triple coming in here? No, it's a double-double for Kuro and Prey.
Another
on SKT.
Team fight win there by the KOO Tigers. And honestly, if there was ever a fight that SKT is going to win there, it would have been that one. KOO was so low on resources beforehand, but SKT had such a gargantuan gold deficit, and Hojin is playing out of his mind on Lee Sin with a beautiful kick on to bang back into the team. This gives him Baron too. Wow.
Hojin is a jungler that's been criticized for a very poor early game coming into this final. All 3 games now, he's had a very, very good early game. He's picking up early kills, early assists. He's applying a lot of pressure on the map. Obviously, there's a few things maybe he can still change, but after all, he's playing a lot better now in the early game. You see the fight, Smep goes down very early, but this kick from Hojin is
1,
massive.
2, 3.
Tower is
Line
still
him
alive
up.
as well. And it's just straight into KOO. He gets that kill, and now they can start chasing.
And Hojin also landed the Sonic Wave the instant Marn came out of Zhonya's. Then they clear his corpse out of the way, land the Ash Arrow onto Faker, and chase down the rest of it. They are really in sync right now, which is something that was distinctly lacking in games 1 and 2.
So he changes his name back to Lee after this one. What plays coming in from Hojin. Last game he was 2-0-2, and he kind of divvied up the kills after that a little bit more. Now he's 6-0-14. It seems like getting more of that experience, more of that cash on Hojin. It definitely pays off for the team. Another game where Prey has come up big as well. In the Ashe, the initiation that KOO loves so much.
Oh, no.
It's actually being turned right back onto him. It is the Dark Passage that tries to bring Prey to the light, but it cannot happen. The box goes down, but everybody runs around, and it looks like they mitigate that slow. A kill onto Gorilla, and now SKT make a bit of their own pick comp with the first headbutt going on to Prey.
Look at the minimap right now. KOO was sitting in the top lane. No teleport obviously on the Kassadin. And then KOO Tigers to start pushing down to the tier 2 tower. Only 3 members against a severe composition.
Yep.
These are the kind of mistakes they've made in the other games, where even though they had a lead, it never felt like the game was over.
Against SKT, the game is never over. No matter how big the lead is.
True.
We have seen it time and time again, and that was an example of the Sivir pick composition. Why is Hojin also trying to defend this turret solo?
They can get a 4-man kick.
Bang wants to go a little too deep, gets hit by the turret. Oh, Faker over the wall! A shutdown. That's huge gold for Faker coming in from Hojin. That'll definitely be an item coming online for him. Hits Arrow, but Arrow's not going to stop this one. KOO goes down as everybody inside the base does what they can with the globals they have. Smab still putting pressure on the bottom. If Marn had been there, that would have been detrimental for KOO.
Well, they already got all the kills, and all they had to do was defend the bottom side. Smep got 1 tower, but SKT is suddenly picking up, I believe, 5 kills. 2 kills first in the mid lane, or 4 kills in total here for SKT, and that is massive when you're so far behind.
Especially because both KOO and Hojin had maximum bounties, which means 500 gold for the kill and 300 gold for the assist. 800 total gold for the team amongst both of those.
Let's see what happened here. Thought Bang went a little too close, but they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, at this point I was expecting KOO to just jump back into his base because he would have been safe. But with the Ash Arrow coming in, I think KOO was thinking he could convert a kill. Faker saved his ultimate for just the right time, saves Bang in such a close fashion.
Wolf takes the arrow, is tanking the turret. Nothing could have gone better there unless they aced the team. And those were members of KOO with Baron. Now, not having it, it's going to be much harder for them to get these waves in. Still onto Smeb, and try to still work that side lane.
It's time to relax a little bit if you're the KOO Tigers. In your communication, you're probably still screaming, you're super hyped, you're about to win this game, everything has been working for you. Now is where you calm down, your shot caller kind of tells the rest of the team, okay, what's our next objective? Tier 2 tower and mid lane, how are we going to get it? Well, we can no longer split up because we know Sivir can hard engage, and there's enough damage on the side of SKT to kill us then. So put the Kassadin with us, slow push the other lane. You see top lane was pushing down. They have to go back now and re-push that lane and then move the Kassadin back into this mid lane so you avoid being caught out by Sivir. And when the next fight happens, you're all 5 members there together and you can use your composition.
And with the amount of gold he has, Hojin making a pretty selfish choice in the Banshees fail against this AP team. Still no Aegis on the side of KOO, which could come back to bite him.
Yeah, I think the way KOO is approaching this game mentally is skirmish.
Yeah.
And if they're trapped in a big team fight where they're sitting on an equalizer, they're probably thinking they've lost anyway. I still would like to see the Aegis in there for Hojin, but with the Banshee's Veil, when he jumps in and kicks someone backwards, it's much harder for them to get him out of there. Wolf can't headbutt him with first spell. Faker can't polymorph him. They have to burn 2 spells in order to stop him from doing that. So it's actually kind of an offensive pickup as well.
It's still so greedy though, because Banshees is one of these items that look good on paper and then one ability hit you before the fight starts and it does really nothing for him. Lockett would have been way better for the rest of his team, but Hojin, he's been on a mission to carry this game.
It is the pattern of the game. That's exactly what he's been doing. Hex Drinker over Sightstone, Warrior Enchantment in 5 minutes.
That's true. Good call in the beginning there.
It's a one-track mind here for KOO Tigers. They're going all in on this specific playstyle, and it is leaking into every single facet of their game.
You got a pocket full of money. Impulse buys happen more than not. And looks like Hojin has been grabbing everything up for himself here. Still looking at a 10,000 gold lead and possibly a Bengi going down. Knocks him out of the tunnel. Arrow hits Wolf once again. Unbreakable Will completely stops the crowd control. And that was worked perfectly with the tanks on the front line for SKT. They have a chance to go back in. Kuro finds himself in a real bad spot. And Smeb is kept at bay. Why are they still going in? Prey was on the front line there. They're going to have Gorilla here. He tries to bob and weave, slalom the minions to slow down SKT, but they're giving back the game inch by inch here.
I was just about to praise KOO Tigers for having that slow push on top side and have the Cassidy sit ready in the mid lane to create a pick, but then they dive on the tower with Kuro tanking the tower as well.
And we're 34 minutes in, so this could actually mean the inhibitor going down.
Crazy.
If you are KOO right now, who does SKT remind you of right now? A team down, holding out with some nice team fighting.
I was gonna say Bob Ross
feels like
dead.
the
I was
KOO
gonna be like,
Tigers.
this game is ruined.
Oh,
then he
Smeb!
saves it.
Whoa, Smeb bringing out the plays. He had a bit more to offer. He is just tanking the turret with happiness, a smile on his face, a few more hits. Smeb coming up with a 2v1 very nicely, and this is where SKT has to turn back alive. They are back. They are on Wolf. That's the not Unbreakable. That's a wild growth coming out. Unbreakable Will is up, but I don't even know if he uses it to try and get out here. They're going to try to walk KOO around as much as possible. Face of the mountain is all he's got to offer there as he holds the ult for the possibility of a very big fight in their base coming up.
So Smeb has been farming for the last 35 minutes. I think we've barely seen him in this game. He's just been sitting in that side
It's worked
lane.
so well for KOO.
And now finally he gets his chance. 1 versus 2, kills them. That was so huge because SKT were pushing in the base. They were gonna get inhibitor, get more kills, get back in the game, and then the outplay happens.
After such a turning moment, this is what KOO Tigers talk about when they talk about their team chemistry, honestly, because how many teams at Worlds this year have we seen go down 2-0 and been able to bounce back in the third game? Absolutely
Nope.
And then after making multiple mistakes in the third game, be able to still go for the play and have it work. They have the trust in each other, and they've said even when they make a bad play, they can move on from it. That is a perfect example of it working in the game. But still, they're yet to close, and they still haven't taken a single game off SKT.
And I'm 100% sure SKT after this game, if they do end up losing it, they're gonna sit down and talk about the first 5 minutes of these games.
Of all
because
games, yeah,
every single
absolutely.
one. There have been some crazy aggressive plays from SKT where they get punished, plays they didn't have to make in the first place. Why set yourself behind, or why risk setting yourself behind when you have shown that shot calling wise, late game, you are the better team? That is something they're gonna have to change for the next game if they lose this one.
Think of what would happen, though, if those plays had worked. Your mentality to be crushed that hard in the first 5 minutes of the game. Luckily for KOO, it hasn't for SKT, and they have been falling behind, which is really giving them a chance to be in this game. And they're not even on a thread right now. They are in the lead, pretty much just walking down the road.
It's been plays that you couldn't win. Flashing forward on the tower to get a first spot is just you trading a kill for kill, but using your flash. So like, you're basically lost no matter what you do.
You talk about trying to be calm as well on a stage like this, World Finals, even though SKT has been there before. It's Marin's first Worlds as well.
That's true.
There is a moment of the spectacle. Here we go.
Oh, what a hit on the Faker. Eyes focused onto him. He's forced to flash over the wall, but it doesn't save him. Kuro gets the shot necessary. A double kill for the Cassidy, and this spells very bad things for SKT. The bottom inhibitor is already broken, feeding super minions into the base. This is going to be Marin going down as well as he's too far from home. Over the wall. Bang's going to go down now. The fly in. The lunge from Smeb. A few more hits. The parry is great. The thrust is better. And he goes down. Huge kills for Kuro. They're on the Nexus turret, and it looks like they could thwart the perfect record of SKT at Worlds. The first Nexus turret to go down, the ace of SKT in their own base, and the KOO Tigers will break the perfect record at Worlds for SKT. We're going to a Game 4.
KOO Tigers decided to all in on this game here. All the way back in Champ Select, we talked about how risky the comp was, but if it starts to get rolling, how powerful it can be.
And for the first time at Worlds, SKT is wounded. KOO Tigers get what they want here. The crowd was chanting KOO Tigers at multiple moments during that last game. And here once again, there is the crowd behind them.
Absolutely amazing. Nobody thought it could be done. So many people saying a 3-0 coming into today, but now we get to see what a broken SKT looks like. Do they come back even stronger? Have you angered the beast on this one? Or are they trying to figure out what happened?
I mean, there's very, very clear things for SKT to work on. And
Absolutely.
again, we're looking at those first 5 minutes where they keep taking some of these fights they don't have to. That's obviously going to be the main thing for them to change, but also they learned a little bit here. KOO Tigers showed they didn't want the Lulu pick. We mentioned how it doesn't really benefit them because of the counter picks we have seen against the Lulu. They didn't take it, gave it over to SK Telecom, to Kassadin instead. Ended up getting 10 kills on the side of KORO as soon as we got to these fights, and he kept picking off the kills.
They picked up the pace of the game. KOO Tigers, something they haven't been able to do for most of Worlds. They've been sitting on the back foot. It was very clear that wasn't going to work against SKT. And yes, SKT made missteps, but the pace of the game was increased. So the chance for errors was greatly increased. And with that, SKT made more errors. Huge credit to KOO Tigers for going all in with their back completely against the wall.
One of the biggest things coming into every world is you see the Korean teams will always do something different. They'll always try to change up the strategy so they're not setting a precedent. You don't know what they're going to do next time. KOO went off of their books that time. That was something we really have not seen from them at
Group
Worlds.
stage KOO Tigers, right there.
Yeah, they're coming back very, very strong, and now SKT has a lot to think about as they come into Game 4. Right now, we're going to throw it over to our analyst desk to break down KOO Tigers' win.
Thank you, gentlemen, and we have ourselves a series, finally. And before we get into anything, I feel like we just have to rewatch this 5-for-1 craziness that happens at the beginning of the game. Now, bear with us. The Ashe spectator bug is still going to be in this, so please ignore it as we go.
Yeah, as we see here, it just starts off with this little bit of the skirmish. KORO makes a little bit of a dangerous play, but Pulverize is already down. And then Hojin gonna come in and start to clean up this fight. And Faker goes a little bit too deep, and Mother Faker, you can't act like you forgot about Prey. Comes over the wall, takes the kill in the end, and that's going to be the end of that team fight.
Yeah, for me, just two
Not yet! Yeah, it's not the end of that team
two
fight.
very big mistakes here. Wolf failing the combo, and then SKT still continuing with the play. You could bail there, you can sacrifice your support. Alistar did get changed, so it's really hard to land that combo consistently well. But the fact that here at the end, two more SKT members like, well, our team is dying, we are team players, let's just walk in and die too. That for me is the most confusing part of it.
That's the discussion that we had about the sunk cost fallacy and con men. And people continuing. You talked about SKT actually being good at trying to make something happen out of a losing situation, but that is a situation where it all went down the drain. Because this was KOO Tigers' Hail Mary. This was everything on this game. Everyone go full offensive champion, screw sight zones, everybody just try and get as many kills as you can.
SKT on your screens here. After their first loss at Worlds, and as you mentioned, Monty, they were 17-0 coming into the day, 19-0 before this loss. I mean, that's got to be quite a blow, taking your first loss in a long time.
And here's the question now. Do we see some of these other picks start to come out? We know that SK Telecom is a lot more prepped. They played back-to-back game of Lulu, Alistar, trying to basically snowball around their bot lane, and with the Rumble all 3 games too. So we'll see some new stuff, I think.
I think it's very easy for Koma to tell the guys, say, these are the moments where it went wrong. And even though SKT got far behind, and yes, KOO played fantastic and made some nice picks, the fact that they managed to keep the game this close with that big of a goal disparity, for me, is still... It is just bonkers. It's just nuts. It should not be allowed to happen. You should not be able to keep a game this close with that large of a lead at the World Finals.
That being said, SKT's early game has gotten worse and worse and worse each consecutive game.
Faker needs to stop greeting. Like, he may be the best player in the world, but he could have flashed out of at least 2 deaths and then he later flashed into a wall. Like, there is a frame when a Thresh goes in and flash flays you for a hook. There's a frame where you can flash out of there. Holding your flash there is just ultimate disrespect, and you should never die there.
Well, to your point, though, about Koma, the coach, being able to right the ship to a degree, though, there's an element of this is the first punch SKT has taken, so the players are the boxer here who have finally got hit after throwing 19 consecutive punches that have landed. Koma can only do so much to shake them out of the actual physical pain of being hit for the first time in a while.
Let me tell you about a little something we have in North America called the reverse sweep. We're very experienced with it.
I don't know anything about reverse sweeps in Koreans at all, no.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. No memories of reverse sweeps there, right, Crepo?
Only best of threes where we won, right?
But yeah, I mean, SK Telecom, they started out their careers, their first Champions win was a reverse sweep against the KT Bullets. So, and you know what's funny is that you bring that up. It was actually in a sort of similar style to this. When they fell behind the KT Bullets macro game, losing the first 2 games, they came back with pick compositions and just tried to outplay and outskirmish their opponents. And that's what really turned the series back in SKT's favor. So Faker's been here before.
Yeah, I want to jump back into this series, though, as we only have so much time left. All the way back to Champion Select. We've gotten some of the craziness out of the way. We had said so much about how KOO needs to return to what is comfortable for them. If it's your last game, possible last game on the stage, what do you fall back onto? And I want to point specifically to Gorilla, the guy you pointed out, Kobe, on that Thresh.
I mean, that's what he said. It's like, side zone, forget about side zone. Mobility boots, going to continue to make plays, and he did just that. So many great flash plays.
Yep.
Maybe they should have been flashed out of, but
he made the perfect play, right? He did everything he needed to do. Lantern and flash, carry people forward, flash flaying. It's at that point that the play can still get countered, but he did everything right there.
And he had the hooks landing basically around minions.
He was like curving the bullet, the bullet, yeah.
And then the other player that I want to hit, though, has to be Hojin, because, again, when we look at people on the team, we had said Smeb, Gorilla, those are going to be the 2 guys. But Hojin here, getting those early 5 kills, all eyes were on him. Could he make something of it? And I want to jump into our replay here. 27 minutes into the game, in the mid lane, he comes up huge with a kick.
Yeah, just that was the game-changing, not the game-changing, that was just the snowball of that fight here. But overall, I'm still questioning the 5 kills on Lee Sin. And then
well, he maybe shouldn't have taken the 5 kills.
That's what he does here. Yeah, that kick, that was fantastic. That's fantastic. The 3-man here, especially since Lee Sin got changed, and you get actually more value from kicking people, especially tanks, into other players here. That just bought enough time for Kuro to come in, and then that tower stayed alive a very long time too, dealing damage. And honestly, it looked like SKT was turning it around at this point, so that was a fight-changing kick at least.
Yeah, even in that fight, there were many moments where SKT had great plays, but KOO were able to snowball.
I mean, after that fight, too, we actually saw a couple examples of SKT coming out on top. We saw that push for the mid-inhib. If it weren't for Smeb's outplay in the bot lane, 1v2, that would have been a huge
People
loss.
were starting to get worried. They were up 10,000 gold. Like, oh, okay.
It got a little rocky, but Hojin, we criticized him a lot about falling behind in the jungle early. And one thing about the KOO Tigers, their first big streak in Korea came with him playing more aggressive junglers. Cinderhulk really threw this team for a loop for a while. And I think that the changes to the jungle and the disable on Gragas has really helped Hojin, because now he can go back to that Lee Sin. It's becoming a more viable option again. And he's certainly demonstrated what we've always known, which is that he's a great Lee Sin player.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I need a breather after that game. The KOO Tigers have kept the series alive with that win. We'll see if they can build on that win in Game 4, coming your way in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
KOO now trying to hang on to their World Championship hopes. It's working out perfectly, distributing the kills, nice. Bang trying to come in now. A huge I think I can situation from SKT to pick up. The spell shield is on, he does not get crowd control. That's the grand challenge on Bangi. Thrust, parry, and he gets the kill. Bang wants to go a little too deep, gets hit by the turret. Oh, Faker over the wall! A shutdown, that's huge gold for Faker coming in from Hojin. This is gonna be Marin going down as well, as he's too far from home. Over the wall, Bang's gonna go down now. We're going to a game